we're going to talk both sides here, right? So pro AI, anti AI. So we'll start with pro AI. Dutch comedian and producer Aline van der Velden developed Tilly Norwood as an AI actress through her company Particle 6. Norwood argues Hollywood's backlash is misplaced, claiming AI films will create jobs rather than eliminate them. She insists audiences won't know the difference between AI and traditional productions. Problem. Her stance frames AI as a democratizing force that lowers barriers for new creators. Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed AI generated content is coming to Disney Plus, positioning the studio as a corporate leader in embracing AI. He sees the technology as inevitable and part of Disney's strategy to expand its creative pipeline. Iger suggests AI can deliver more stories at scale, keeping Disney competitive in streaming. His comments normalize AI as a mainstream entertainment tool. Director George Miller calls AI the next great creative revolution, likening it to the past cinematic breakthroughs. He actively supports Australia's AI Film Festival, championing experimentation with AI storytelling. Miller argues AI isn't a threat, but a bold new tool for artists. His optimism casts AI as a frontier for innovation and creativity. Now, to the other side of the argument, we're going to talk the cons for AI and voices in AI. George Clooney warns that AI actors will face the same uphill battle as humans. True star power can't be manufactured. He stresses that charisma, cultural impact, and audience connection are intangible qualities technology cannot replace. While not hostile to AI, Clooney doubts it can solve Hollywood's biggest challenge, making a star. His skepticism highlights the irreplaceable human spark in storytelling. Now, Vince Gilligan's new sci fi series, Pluribus, proudly declares made by humans, a direct rejection of AI in creative work. He openly states that AI undermines the authenticity of storytelling. Gilligan believes audiences crave human made art, not machine generated content. His defiance makes him a leading voice in the anti-AI camp, staking his reputation on preserving human creativity. While Cluley and Gilligan remind us that star power and authenticity can't be coded, their resistance sets the stage for the bigger question: what happens when these human concerns collide with the industry's push towards AI innovation? So here's how it all comes together. Together, these stories show a sharp divide. Studios and some creators see AI as inevitable and revolutionary, while others argue it erases the human essence of art. The debate isn't just about technology, it's about identity, authenticity, and the future of stardom. With Disney and George Miller pushing AI forward and Clooney and Gilligan drawing hard lines, Hollywood is split between embracing innovation and defending tradition. So I've got a question for everybody here. This is where we do our debate here on the trend up. Is AI in entertainment the next generation creative revolution, or does it risk erasing the human spark that makes art resonate?
All right, now fight. No, no.
Okay, well, I would like to go first if that's okay. Is that
Please,
okay?
please.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So to me, it's hard. I don't think that we should rely on AI to create people. I don't think that's a good idea. Also, I don't think we should rely on AI to create stories out of whole cloth. I think we should rely on AI to help with our grammar. Some of us aren't great with grammar. Hello, me. Or spelling, or the smaller, like making it sound a little more poppy. Make it, that kind of thing, where you give it the like, hey, here's the thing I wrote. Let's make it a little bit more coherent because I've had 3 hours of sleep and no coffee. but something like that. I don't think we should make AI be the, hey, let's do this out of, let's create a character out of AI, and then let's go ahead and let this AI tell this story, because then we're basically just bowing down to our AI overlords. And I just don't think that that is in any way conducive to the human race. I think that's where we start extincting ourselves, because if we start using AI in everything, what are humans going to do?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree with all. I think it's one of those things though where you can't be afraid of change, and I think it's weird because there's a lot of AI and people it has the stigma and people are just like no AI whatsoever, but it's just the way technology is moving forward. And yes, it could change jobs, but that's kind of how technology works. That's how things have been for the last century, with capitalism and whatnot. So you just have to be aware. Like there used to be a milkman. There's no longer milkman. Like things change, Like that was a job, but
I had a milkman. I in Idaho, when we lived in Idaho, there was a guy that delivered our milk every 3 days or something. So I get that, and I do understand that. And the innovation part of it, I'm absolutely on board with. But the moral part of it, where it's let's mimic life. I'm not on board with that, because not and I'm not even saying this from a spiritual type thing. I just don't like what are humans going to do? We're eventually going to become, what's that, Looper or whatever, that movie where people really like, they just download themselves into new bodies and stuff. We're going to become that, and that's where you lose empathy, you lose kindness, because nothing is temporary, because you can just remake it. So suddenly we're all in video games. And I think that, some people think we're already in video games. Let
I mean, I think there
put
was a
that out there.
study that was
But
like, no, no, we're not. So
right, but
yeah,
I think that as the technology gets so advanced, we risk becoming so numb to all of it that we risk, like from Serenity, from Firefly, they just stopped wanting to live because everything was done for them. Everything was now, it was a little bit more than that. There was also a chemical involved and stuff. But I'm not getting in the brass tacks of Serenity right now. We are not
again, we
doing
can
that.
have our full Firefly lore podcast at some point.
Yes, exactly. But what I'm saying is that
It's
there
like
has to be a line, there has to be something that we still celebrate the human spark and the human spirit. I do think AI should be integrated into several things so that maybe some jobs get a little bit easier. I understand that, but I don't think that we should just, hey, AI, just take over everything. Let's do this. Let Skynet just do whatever the fuck it wants. So
Okay, well, I guess I'll go next. So I had a whole thing prepared. Now I'm rethinking it, but I am profoundly distrustful of AI generally. Um, I do agree with what's the guy? With Vince Gilligan, here, that whole thing, where it does with creativity specifically, with storytelling specifically. If you're making content for humans, there should be humans making it. Like that's seems logical. Now I understand. Yes, uh, it can streamline things. It can make them easier. It can help and whatever. And I've used it before to do that. But there's a danger. There's a risk to doing that and to handing too much over to it. Because yes, there is a larger discussion of large corporations do not generally care about people or their workers or their whatever, and so they're going to cut corners and costs and whatever whenever they can. And if they can be like, hey, this AI could do it just as good as this person, well, it's going to fire this person, and then they don't have any other source of income. This does hurt people directly. Not to mention, AI data centers have terrible environmental impacts. Powering them and pumping all this water through them to cool all the servers and everything is abhorrent, is terrible for the environment. Even worse than cars in a lot of ways, worse than really guzzling cars in a lot of ways. So there is an environmental impact, there is a moral impact there, but at the same time it is kind of an inevitability. There is a push right now for everything to be AI. This is the big new thing, it's the new whatever. It's like, oh look, the cotton gin was invented, let's go use this everywhere. Same kind of thing. So the real so that is kind of I framed the debate. I do think there's an AI bubble right now that is going to burst at some point soon, and people are going to realize that they cannot deliver on the promises that have been given to investors and things, because everybody's throwing money at AI companies, and they're not going to be able to live up to it. But to conclude all of my thoughts, what I would want, even since it is inevitable, I think that people should be transparent about how things are made. We need to have like I don't know what a good example is, but basically have before a movie or a TV show or whatever, you can be like, hey, have a warning, be like, like you have no likeness, or whatever. You can have something at the end be like, hey, no likeness was generated of these people or whatever through this, or this is how AI was used. And so I think we want to do something like that, where you can have a label on there and be like, hey, AI was used here, wasn't used here. And then you can decide. You can be like, okay, AI was used here, I'm going to still watch this, or I'm going to still contribute to this. But I think that's the smartest option, is just to have people be transparent about what they did and how it was made, so you can make that decision for yourself. So that's my conclusion. So I'm skeptical of it, but I do think it is inevitable regardless. So, all right, whoever else.
For me, I think it comes down to, where does AI lie when it comes to creativity? It's definitely beneficial for things in the world. Like, I'm glad I have a robot that can map out my floor and vacuum for me. Thank you, AI, for that. But like, when it comes to a movie that's all created in AI, an actor that's all created in AI, that feels dirty. That feels like the creativity is lacking, and that uh, we're not in. It's not meant for us, but it was just meant to be um, created, and who knows what the next step is. You know what I keep thinking of? I keep thinking of that one movie, was it Beowulf, where everything just, like the faces, the animated version, everybody just looked dead.
Uncanny Valley. It was Uncanny Valley.
Is that what it
It
was?
was so weird.
It was just odd, and I didn't like it. But I mean, would I say you should never have animation and special effects? No, I don't. I'm just concerned when it gets to the point where it's like, it's so beneficial. Like, how do you not use it? Like, when you're able to like create special effects in one click, here we go, boom, it's created, and it's all done with AI. I don't know. What do you think, Youngfield? Do you have an opinion on AI or not AI?
Absolutely do. I'm going to start this off with AI, when not used for evil, is an amazing tool. There's so much benefit that it can give you, as far as calculation, as far as fixing grammar, as far as I mean, we use it to an extent to help us fix things. But when you make it when you use it where it is taking over the creative process, it's very evident, because there are telltale signs when AI is creating things for you. I don't know if you guys have seen Sora 2 and what it's capable of doing. Right?
I, it,
Sora 2,
I think my best friend is using it for her art. So she does like sculptures and like found art and different things like that. And she's just making them like dance like they're her puppets. And it's creepy AF.
Sora 2 is one of the creepiest things out there. Now, right now, the resolution on the videos that it makes are very low res. That's why you tend to see it be like on a Ring camera, or you tend to see it on like on a security camera. But that just is going to show that when Sora 3 comes out, it's going to be like you and me, right? Like this, things are going to be indistinguishable from AI. And what's scary about that is then you're going to have people who are making AI videos that are, you know, making making people like us say things that we didn't say. And it's going to look like that's happening, and things are going to be indistinguishable. That is absolutely evil. And that is what some of these people want to do. They're they're kind of doing this whole, in Japan, there is a loneliness. There's a loneliness epidemic all around the world, but I mean, there's a loneliness epidemic. This particular thing that they do in Japan, where between robots and these pillows, like these whole things, where people are having relationships with AI and inanimate objects, and that is not healthy, because a robot and a computer it does not substitute human interaction, just because it gives you exactly what you want. And that's kind of where they're going with wanting to use AI in these movies, is substituting human interaction and human feeling and emotion with artificial means. And I think, like, again, use AI as a tool, use it as something that enhances something that you're doing, but doesn't replace the things that are there. You guys know what I mean? Um, I, I'm very push and pull when it comes to AI because of things like that. Because that kind of thing scares me, because eventually this is how Skynet happens, like, just to take it to an extreme, right? Like, basically, this is where AI becomes to a point where it starts getting to a point where it's indistinguishable from humans. You put that in a robot that can control itself, and it's problematic. So, and
Yeah.
that's getting into hypotheticals, but I mean, when it comes to creativity, when it comes to art, AI is stealing from other people's art, and from their arts of, well, their style and everything like that. And it is taking work from actors when you make an AI character that is acting in a movie, when you can have an actress or an actor who spent years at their craft and is being butt out by a robot that can do whatever the hell you want just by typing it in. So I don't believe in using it in that form and in that sense, but I do believe in using AI as a tool in order to enhance or advance the things you're doing. With one caveat, the gaming industry is talking about replacing QA testers with AI, and I also don't believe in that, because yeah, a computer is going to do
No,
it
fuck
eventually,
that.
but don't
Because
don't.
again, as my the just main thing, if you're making art for humans, let humans make the art.